Frank, I heard you were working on a big secret project.
Norm.
What is it?
We're making stuff for Blizzard, for BlizzCon.
Wait, is it this guy right here?
This guy.
That looks like a Murloc. I've never seen anyone build a Murloc life-size before, and it looks like you might be the first.
Yeah, Blizzard asked me to build a Murloc for the new Hearthstone expansion, and we're actually building 2 of them. And so this is like just the first kind of polyfoam casting that we're going to use for patterning out some wardrobe that's going on it. But we're building a Murloc.
So at this point of the build, it's still a work in progress. We are before BlizzCon right now, where these Murlocs are going to be unveiled. Can you walk me through the process of making this?
Well, I'm not super familiar with Hearthstone or Warcraft as far as what a Murloc was. So I had to start looking it up and had asked a bunch of my guys that work for me. They've played Warcraft and they play Hearthstone, so they knew what it was. One of the guys that works for me, Nick, he was saying that they're just kind of like water goblins.
So in building a Murloc, these water goblins, I remember them as pets from World of Warcraft. I'm sure Blizzard provided you with some visual reference.
Yeah, they gave us a whole bunch of artwork from the new Hearthstone decks. And in this new world, they want these guys to be like kind of newsboys. So we're gonna put a hat on them, give them suspenders and tattered clothes. Like most of these guys, if they had clothes, it's like stuff that they just kind of found and maybe doesn't quite fit right or doesn't match or anything. We're going to give them these news bags, and they're going to, I guess, be handing out scrolls or something like that at BlizzCon.
Well, you sculpted this, or you worked on it.
So I had a whole crew
You and
that
your
sculpted
crew
this.
started this off as a sculpt. It wasn't like a 3D model that was printed out. It was hand sculpted, and you start off with your big forms, because this is pretty big.
Yeah, when we first got asked to do this, I wasn't sure if we should foam fabricate it or if we should sculpt it. And as we kept on going back and forth, I felt that actually sculpting it is the way to do it, to really get the life out of these things. It's a really organic creature, and it's got a, I just don't think that foam fabricating it would have really given it what it needs.
So start off as a lot of clay.
Yeah, we got a mannequin, we wrapped it in some chicken wire, and then wrapped that in plaster bandages, and then started piling water clay on. Took my guys about 2 days to sculpt this thing.
Wow.
They just flew through it.
Now, what we're seeing here is the first casting, because from that clay sculpture, this isn't clay obviously, you make a mold.
Yes.
And we talked about molds before, so you made a big fiberglass.
We made a big giant epoxy mold.
Wow.
So here's just one of the 3 pieces for the big giant epoxy mold. And as you can see, unlike making a plaster mold, this thing's really lightweight, so it's easy to work with.
So from that big mold, you pulled out this latex casting, and in the casting, which is basically all that's left of the sculpture, there is no clay anymore.
No, clay's all gone, it's all cleaned out. We have the mold.
And I look at this detail, you have so much of the scaly texture on the outside here, plus even the inner skin here, all these details.
Oh yeah.
With the same techniques that you've used in your shop before?
Yeah, Ben and Rob went to town on this thing, and they just gave it all the detail we could shove into it. It's a tight deadline, but we're moving fast.
And you even have the spots here for the spikes that come out of it. And these look like they are going to be foam fabricated.
Yeah, so we made just little sockets that these things will plug into, and then Gary kind of mocked these things up really quick, just so we can kind of figure out scale and kind of figure out size. Now this thing is going to be used to pattern the clothes on. So Lorelei, the same lady that made the costumes for the last project we did in here, she's going to make the wardrobe on this.
So you're giving her this as the forms to create the patterns. I see you're taking reference for what textures or colors to use for these newsboy outfits and dressing them up. Now, the next step you're going to do is to recast that in foam latex?
Well, the next step is to make a core in that mold, so that way we can just have a foam latex skin that'll go on top of a form that the person wears.
Because it has to be wearable.
Yes. That's, anybody can sculpt one of these things, but to make it wearable, figure out how to see, how you get in and out of it, how you circulate air once you're inside of it. There's so many intricacies that goes into making a costume like this. It's not just, can you sculpt it and can you mold it? Which is a challenge in itself.
Right, and once you're finished with that skin, then there's a whole painting process, the finishing process, getting the clothes to actually fit on, because you're making 2 of these.
Making 2.
I can't wait to see this at BlizzCon.
Yep.
Now, thankfully, you guys won't have to wait, because we're going to jump to BlizzCon right now. We're going to see the finished product. All right, and we're here. We're at BlizzCon.
Yeah.
Frank, these are some Murlocs.
We built some pretty badass Murlocs, I think.
Wow. When I last was at the shop, these were you had just pulled the first castings out of the molds to get the paint samples done, but this is foam latex?
Yeah, these are all foam latex. RBFX ran the foam for us. The best foam runner in the universe.
And you have the sculpt, you have these foam latex, they're painted, you have these eyes, and also costumes. Tell me about the costumes.
Well, Lorelei, who's been making all of our fabric stuff for the past couple of projects, made these too. She's a big fan of Disney films like Newsies, so she took to it real quick, tried to make them as accurate to the way their cuts are and the way the lapels and where the buttons are, and just kind of went crazy on it. She even made the hats.
Wow, they have great hats, and they have shoes that fit over their feet that stick out.
The Murlocs are kind of they just kind of find whatever clothes and put them on, so things don't necessarily fit. Things are a little mismatched.
Now, watching these guys put them on, you have Ben and Gary wearing these. They're the performers for today. Talk me through the process of putting them on.
Well, they got to get their Murloc socks on, these big silicone lower legs. Then they put the pants and then their shoes, and then fitting into the whole thing. We made an L200 understructure inside the foam. And there's some carbon fiber parts that hold together the mouth and all that stuff. Put the hinges in there so that they kind of bounce around real good. All that stuff gets kind of zipped up and Velcroed together, and then they put their gloves on. And on Ben's, we have a little FPV camera where the lens, so he looks out of here. So he's got a set of fat sharks that he looks through. Gary's camera died yesterday morning, so Gary is looking through the nose holes.
Like the old school cosplayer. They're performers.
Yeah.
So you got to interact with the crowd. I see Gary's hunched over a little bit. That's part of the design, right?
Yeah.
That's the silhouette of the character.
Ideally, these things are 5 feet tall, but it's kind of hard to find somebody short enough that we can make even shorter. So we just used Ben and Gary because they're awesome. And they're having fun, right, guys?
I also hear audio, right?
Yeah. Tested Zone Jeremy, he took the audio files that I got from Blizzard, put them in a little microcontroller, and we rigged them to a switch. They just kind of...
And they're hidden in their shoulder bags?
Yeah, hit their bag, and it cycles through all the different sounds that they gave us, so they have kind of a random, little noisemaker.
Yeah, I know people have been sharing photos and videos of this on social media all weekend long, but I gotta tell you, when you get up close, you can see all the details of that sculpt. When we looked inside the mold, all those details, they look like real creatures come to life, not just video game characters.
Well, it's fun, because the whole Blizzard aesthetic, there's that kind of balance between the cartoony and the real, and these are actually really fun characters to build.
How was it to paint the whole thing?
I painted the body, and then Ben and Rob painted the arms and the feet. They're really fun paint jobs. I'd even like to spend more time and throw more details into it. They're pretty neat. And then these eyes are really cool. Force Seal Studios made these for us. We 3D modeled the inside of the eye, and they're cast in clear acrylic and painted with a whole bunch of sparkly things, and they have a really cool depth to them. And
yeah, up close, you can definitely see.
Yeah.
It's a lens in there. And then the teeth also, a little bit of shimmer, a little slime. Is that epoxy? What is that?
Yeah, Ben and Rob sculpted the teeth, and we cast these out of Simpact 85A, which is a real durable urethane rubber. But we wanted them to be light, so we just did a skim coat of that, and then backfilled it with some polyfoam, and then put either Uracoat or Urabond, I don't remember which one I was using, to just kind of give them a gloss look. And it sticks pretty well and kind of sealed in the paint.
So before we head out, one last time, let's give a shout out to all your teammates who worked on this project.
Yeah, great crew. As always, all these bigger shows, I can't do these things by myself. I need to have this army of awesome people. Len Peralta, Ben Plowman, Gary Kroll, Nick Bonamy, Robert Vinter, Lorelei Lay, Jeremy Fisher, Sarah Tangway, Craig Smith, Jeremy Williams, Force Seal Studios, RBFX, and Factor 31.
And those are people you may see in the back of Frank's shop when we go and work on future projects, which you'll find untested. So we're going to go walk with the Murlocs on the floor and see you guys next time.